Welcome to another unit in this methodology toolbox. This time I'm talking about how to prepare your dataset for analysis. What does this mean? That's basically the question, what has to be done before the collected data can actually enter a statistical analysis? Because not always, if you collected the data, be it online surveys, offline, questionnaires, whatever, can the data just as is be put into a statistics program or being evaluated, because it's not always the best quality of data. So what should we do first? Well, first off, we should clean our data set. Cleaning means asking questions, are there any missing values? If there are missing values, how do I treat them? Do I just mark them, or do I try to fill in the gaps? I could, as I said, also, if I mark them, or erase the full data set. If it's too much data which is missing, I better erase this. If I have like only one answer missing, I could mark this with a specific value, or I could inter or extrapolate. What does this mean? Well, if I have, for example, time series data, and I'm missing only information about 1 year, but I have the information for the years before this, the years afterwards, I can assume that the data develops linearly between these, the year afterwards and the year before. So I can just calculate the average of the year before, the year afterwards, and I get like an estimate what the missing value could be. That's not perfect, but maybe this helps to actually work on a larger, bigger data set if I'm only missing like 1 or 2 values. I should do this if I miss too much values, because then, well, I would assume a structure which not necessarily does exist, at least not throughout the data set. I could also ask myself, are there particular outliers? Are there outliers? Are there severe outliers? So I could use, for example, a box plot to determine something. Does one of my participants takes way too much time or way too little time? Why could this be a problem? Well, if someone answers very fastly, it could mean he simply just clicked through the questionnaire without even reading the questions. If someone takes too long, they might be preoccupied with doing other things on the side or having a break in between, so they're not really concentrating on the questions. That's why I should delete outliers from the answer time. Could be for other things as well, but this is from a more preparatory point of view, an important aspect. And, well, I could also ask myself, are there severe outliers regarding socioeconomic values? What could this mean? Well, if I have a sample which consists mostly of young people below the age of 30, and then there are 2 people aged 70 something, they might give significantly different answers, which is no problem in general, but with only 2 people, I cannot do a decent analysis. I cannot, for example, consider there's an opinion of older and younger people. So it would be better to exclude these 2 old people and say, well, my study focuses only on young people. Same goes for income. If I have one very rich person there, the other have like median or low income, might better delete the rich person if I want to control, for example, for income. So that's always dependent on what I want to do. The answer time should always be done. The socioeconomical variables, whenever this might impact due to their behavior, due to using these variables as controls. Other values, other variables, I would only consider, I would only exclude from my data set those observations if they're really severe outliers which could not be sensibly, reasonably interpreted within the context of the analysis. And well, that's the first part on cleaning my data set. I, however, should also ask some more general questions. Do I have enough observations for what I want to do? So is my sample large enough? Can I trust the reliability and validity of the sample I have? That's basically questions I should have asked beforehand regarding the validity. Regarding the reliability, I can run some tests. If this doesn't turn out negatively, well, I might refrain from using certain items of my questionnaire. I could ask myself as well, that goes together with the first question, is the sample representative and who does it represent? If, as in the earlier case, I mostly have young people, but 2 people aged 70 something, I better exclude these 70 people, as I said earlier, and focus on the young people and say, well, does this really represent young people? So are the other aspects of young people decently represented? Be it income, be it, for example, living standard, education, something like this. So I always ask myself, who do I actually represent? Make my study that I represent what I want to represent, and then really test whether this is the case, whether all the other aspects are fulfilled. And finally, I also have to ask myself, are the requirements regarding the methods I want to use fulfilled? This could again be the sample size, the size of subsamples. This could be scale levels. This could be something like normal distribution in the variables. That's questions I should ask in either case. Well, that's then already everything I wanted to mention in this context of preparing your data set before actually applying any kind of analysis of the data set. Well, this brings us to the end. So I say goodbye and see you next time.